How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We're back with another FPL video from a long break over the Christmas period. I was going to do a few more streams, but it got too busy. But we're back. We have a free hit guide for you today in Double Game Week 22. This is going to be a guide as to when you should use your free hit, how to use your free hit, if you have one or two free hits, and what your chip strategy could be going forward. And we're going to base it around my team a little bit, but we'll show kind of which players you should be looking to get in, as well as other players that you should potentially be, have a little bit of fun with. Free hits are a free hit. It's a one-off game week where you can have players that you wouldn't normally want to keep longer term. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Haven't done so already, it greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from injury news to price changes and anything in between. And lastly, make sure to give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We won't be doing a deadline stream this time. It is a Friday deadline, but we will be doing some deadline streams in the future and getting back to the regular scheduled programming and streaming, as it were. So without further ado, let's talk about our sponsors for this video with Manscaped. This video is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped have just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, alongside their Performance Package 4.0, which also includes the Weed Whacker hair and nose trimmer for those pesky little hairs that are getting out of hand, the Crop Preserver for anti-chafing to make sure that you are as relaxed at all times, the Crop Reviver for maximum conditioning and toning to make sure your jewels are as buff as possible, disposable shaving mats, as well as the premier travel bag for your on-the-go grooming, and lastly the anti-chafing boxers, which I can personally say are extremely comfortable and keep you cool under the highest amount of pressure. What I found the most impressive is that the Lawnmower 4.0 features ceramic cutting-edge blades to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology, so you can now have that added security when venturing into uncharted territories. The upgraded trimmer also includes a multi-function on and off switch that can engage a travel lock, and also when you are venturing into those uncharted territories, it has the ability for a LED, a 400K LED, a very strong light that you can switch on and off so you can get that more precise shave. So make sure to join over 4 million men who trust in Manscaped with this exclusive offer: 20% off and free worldwide shipping using the code FLAME20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com using the code FLAME20. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. So this is my team up on the screen. Me personally, I'm not going to be free hitting this week, even though I only have one double game week player, with that being Marcus Alonso. I think I'll probably just take a hit and bring in a couple double game week players because I don't think it's really that good personally. If we look at like the major teams that do have double game weeks, Chelsea is one of them. They have Man City and Brighton, but you probably don't want them longer term due to their blanks in 24, 25, and I believe they're also going to blank in 26 or 7 as well, because they made it to the the Carabao Cup final. You have the likes of Liverpool, who we have triple of, or some of us still have at least double with Trent and Jota. Salah could be coming back soon-ish. So if Egypt, they lost their first game, if they lose one of their next two, they could be going home, which means Salah could be back for this fixture here versus Crystal Palace, because he would have played midweek in between these two games in the African Cup of Nations and could be back for this game here earlier than what we had expected. And then you also have, some other players that you might not want to free hit out. So I have the likes of Bowen and Antonio. They have a great fixture this week versus Leeds. So I think that they could do quite well. They did quite well against them in the cup as well earlier on a week or so ago. And they basically we're quite comfortable on that. So do you really want to be free hitting some of the players out that could be doing well? In my case, I have a lot of decent single game week players, the likes of Jared Bowen, Antonio, Calvert-Lewin as an example. Had his double game week fixture, as it were, cancelled, and they have Norwich away and some good fixtures to come as well. So don't really want to be getting rid of them. A couple of players I would say would be, kind of ones that I'm wary of is Kane, Ronaldo, Dennis. They are all, unfortunately, forwards, and then there's a couple of midfielders as well. But those three, I would say, potentially having a couple of those would be quite nice. But let's take a look at some of the players that if I was making a free hit draft, I've already used my first free hit in game week 19, I believe it was, and I kind of want to save that for later in game week 30, where there's going to be basically like maybe one good team playing, and there's only usually like 3 or 4 fixtures, because what happens is that's the game week where all the fixtures are basically pulled out of due to teams progressing in the FA Cup. And typically the teams that do well in the Cup are the teams that are usually better in the Premier League as well, with some exceptions. Arsenal getting knocked out early, they'll be fine in that game week. But Liverpool, City, Chelsea, United, these teams, we expect them to go far in the FA Cup, which means they will blank, and subsequently their opponents will also blank in that game week, unless there's a fixture that can be made up and moved in there. But that's some technicalities that could be kind of deduced later on. And if you haven't followed him, Ben Crellin is fantastic for that sort of fixture rearrangements and whatnot. I've been following him quite closely with some postponements. He can't obviously predict those, but he can't predict what is likely to happen with future double game weeks. But it seems like we're going to be getting a lot this coming football calendar year, as it were. So what is a free hit? Let's start off with that. So free hit is basically just you can change your team up given your team value, your current team value, for 1 week, and then your team reverts back to what it was before. So if your players go up or down in price that you had in your team, going into this week, they will stay the same, and you have to buy players as they are on the board itself. So as an example, I don't have Edison in my team. He would cost me 6.1 million. If he went up by 0.2, I could sell him at 6.2, but then if I wanted to rebuy him again and put him back in my free hit team before the deadline, he would cost me 6.3. So you have to be very careful with who you sell initially, and also once you activate the free hit, that is done by making a transfer that will cause you to basically take a hit on your team, a -4, -8, whatever, just any type of points hit. You can choose to activate your free hit. So I can show you as an example. If I just take out these 2 goalkeepers, I put in Saw, and I'll put in Foster as an example. If I scroll down and went to go to make transfers, you can play the free hit here instead. You can also play the wild card because we have that active as well. But we're not going to do that. But I'm going to show you what my free hit team would look like. So my team value is decent enough. It's close to around 105 million. So the goalkeepers right away, I would swap straight out. I think pretty much this week it's pretty straightforward. You're going to go with De Gea, and you're going to probably have Sanchez as his backup just in case. Sanchez is relatively cheap. De Gea, Aston Villa, and Brentford. Even if he doesn't keep a clean sheet, he's going to get some save points. And if he does keep a clean sheet, he's most likely going to make some saves and get himself in the bonus, because United seem to be scoring a low number of goals at the moment. In defense, I think Marcus Alonso or Antonio Rudiger kind of fulfills that spot. I think Alonso is probably a bit riskier, so I would go Antonio Rudiger personally as a double game week defender. Trent, I think I would still probably keep just because of the fact that they play Brentford, who haven't been scoring. At least Ivan Toney hasn't been scoring recently, so that could be a bit of an issue. Cancelo, I would probably take out just because they play Chelsea. Diaz, I would definitely take out, and Johnson. Maybe I just keep Johnson in there just as fodder, but you can always get somebody potentially cheaper in there as well. So some teams to think about for the double game week. You have Brighton, so the likes of Lamptey could be a nice cheap enabler to put in there. Maybe he's a 4th defender. We typically want to play probably 3, I would think, because I think we're going to play 3 forwards in our system and go with a 3-4-3. We could also think about a Burnley defender because their fixtures aren't too bad. So maybe James Tarkowski as an example. They have Leicester at home, Watford at home, so 2 home fixtures. So maybe he's a slightly more expensive defender that you can go for there as well. Maybe you want to go for a Man United defender because it looks like Maguire will be back, and he will probably almost certainly go straight back into the team. Aston Villa and Brentford, if you want to go for the double up there, that is something you can go for. Spurs defender. They also have a decent enough double, so you can go with Emerson Royale at 5 million. He looks to be quite attacking, although his crossing isn't great. But he does seem to pick up some bonus. 11 and 8 points in the last 2 out of the last 3 games. He could be one there as well. Region is another popular pick. That could slot in alongside. And you just play Rudiger, Trent, and Region. I don't think you have to go full double game week crazy this week, because I think that some of the doubles are kind of, you don't really want to look at them. So as an example, Brentford have Liverpool and Man United. That's, not great. And most of the other teams have one good fixture, one bad fixture. So Chelsea, they play Brighton and Man City. Not ideal. And the Brighton game is the second game, which also doesn't help because of potential postponements or injuries and that sort of stuff as well. And there's some good single game week players like we mentioned, Calvert-Lewin, Antonio, Bowen, and Jota. I don't think you might not necessarily want to get rid of them. But let's go with something like that. So I think Rudiger, Trent, and Region could be a nice back three there. In midfield, we wouldn't have Smith Rowe. We wouldn't have Rafinha because he's going up against West Ham. Salah, we would use his money elsewhere. I think Bowen and Jota are two that could probably stay in there. But if we were going for double gaming midfielders, I think Maddison is definitely on the table, assuming he's fit and ready to play. And Leicester are fine, which it seems to be because they got a lot of players back. Burnley away, Spurs at home could be a very good fixture. They have to attack because their defense is so bad, although they are getting some players back. Maddison, I think, could be quite vital in them doing basically anything attacking-wise. You also have the likes of Lookman as well, 6 million, slightly cheaper. He could be playing in a false 9 or up front and could be doing well. 7 points and 6 points over the last 2 games were against both Man City and Liverpool, much tougher opponents, which could help out there as well. Yuri Tielemans, someone who is known for the spectacular, could be in your teams as well. A 16-pointer versus Newcastle back in game week 16, and a couple of 10s in game week 8 and 9 could be ideal. Wouldn't go for the double up though. I don't think I would go there. Another budget midfielder, Lucas Moura, I think is probably going to be quite key if Spurs are going to be successful. I think attacking-wise, he is someone who is probably going to play closer in and around the box. He seems to be occupying a lot of spaces that Kane would normally occupy, which is quite good. Especially with Son out of the team, it means that he's more likely to be involved as more of the kind of threat on the end of stuff, which is good for him. So he could be quite good in that cheaper midfield slot. This is where we would have put Heung-min Son in this slot here, but with him being absent, I think that it's, obviously we can't go there. He would have been perfect in this position, but we can spread the money elsewhere for somebody else. I'm just going to go with a cheaper midfielder and go with Dewsbury Hall. He's just a cheap 4.4 midfielder, and he plays for Leicester, and it looks nicer, I guess. But we'll probably be playing the 4 midfielders: Maddison, Moore, Jota, and Bowen. I think that's probably quite strong, personally. In the forward line, I'm reluctant to get rid of Calvert-Lewin and Antonio, but if I was on a free hit, I would definitely go for these guys here. I would go for Harry Kane. It just makes sense. Arsenal and Leicester, I think he scored 12 goals in 12 games across both fixtures in the teams, Arsenal and Leicester, when he plays against them. So Harry Kane is someone I would have. I would also say that Ronaldo, he looks to be back and fit and available. He was in training, so I think he's definitely a must in there. Both Kane and Ronaldo are both captaincy options here as well. And then lastly, I think you have to go with one of the Watford strikers. I think Emmanuel Dennis just makes more sense just because of his just constant ability to score when Watford don't look like scoring, really. And I think that he in himself is also a captaincy option. There was some fitness issues over him, but he is also back and available, as he was spotted in training as well. I mean, just look at some of the numbers he's put up. Oh, like since game week 12, he's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fixtures total, and he's scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them on a team that's going to get relegated most likely. It's absolutely insane what he's doing. King has had the better underlying numbers, but production hasn't been great. But I would go with Dennis personally. We have the funds for, at least in my team. So that's something I would go for. So I would play De Gea in goal. I'd have Antonio Rudiger, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and probably like my Spurs defender or my double game week other defender in this slot. I would then play Madison, Mora, Jota, Bowen. I'd have Kane, Ronaldo, and Dennis, and one of these three would be the captain. If I had to say, I'd probably say Kane. Having Kane in your team is probably just good enough. But I would probably have either Ronaldo or Dennis as the captain. Probably lean more towards Ronaldo just because it's Ronaldo. Although I think Dennis's 2 fixtures could be a lot easier. And then on the bench, we'd have Lamptey, Tarkowski, and Shrewsbury Hall. I think I'd probably have Tarkowski probably first out of those 3, and then Lamptey and then Shrewsbury Hall most likely. And then I'd play, like I said, I'd have Sanchez on the bench as well. I would go with something like that. If I knew Alonso was going to play both games, I would play him over Rudiger probably, just because he has goal threat as well. Although Antonio Rudiger has been doing exceptionally well this season goal threat wise, but Chelsea could be in a bit of a shambles, with just players missing out due to having to isolate, injuries, all that sort of stuff. But they are getting some of their strike force back, which could help the likes of Alonso when he's able to put balls into the box. He's also very good at direct free kicks as well. And we're still waiting for him to bang one of those, and so would keep an eye on that. But if Tuchel's like, yeah, he's going to play these next 2 games, then cool. And it would be a decent option there. But yeah, this would be my free hit team. I think you don't go double game week. Happy if we count the number of double game week players, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that's about right. If your other 3 players is going to be Trent, Jota, and Bowen, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think they all have decent enough fixtures. Even if you had the likes of Calvert-Lewin instead of Kane, I would say that's probably fine too. Or Antonio instead of Kane, I think that's also fine. Just think they have a really good fixture and Leeds at home, so it could be quite good. And Bowen's been on form as well. You can say that Spurs without Son are probably a different prospect. So, and Kane's numbers do dip when Son isn't in the team, whereas the reverse is not necessarily the case with Son by himself. If Kane's injured, Son typically just kind of ticks along and does whatever he needs to do. But yeah, that would be my free hit team, my guide to the free hit for double game week 22. I would say that if you have 2 free hits, be more than welcome a free hit this week, especially if you don't have the likes of, I would say probably Ronaldo, Dennis, and then either Moore or Madison. Those 3 for me would probably be like players I would look at and say probably want them in there for sure for this double game week. Myself, I have none of those players at the moment, so I have to kind of see if I can work something out for that. But also keep in mind that on a free hit, you don't have to worry about getting Salah back immediately if you currently still have him in your team and haven't gotten rid of him. If you have gotten rid of him, then you also have to worry about how am I going to get him back, because as it stands now, Egypt have 0 points. They played 1 game, they lost it. If they don't do well, then he could be coming straight back for that Crystal Palace game. But if you have Jota and Trent, they could probably potentially cover him as managers, get him back into their teams. But we don't know that for certain. We'll have to wait and see. Egypt should go through in that. So, yeah, this is my free hit team. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And, yeah, good luck in double game week 22. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. And that is going to do it for our double game week 22 free hit guide. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, and turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from price changes to transfers in the January window and anything in between. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We'll be getting back to more regular streams for that as well, so make sure to tune in for those now that the Christmas period is over. And lastly, make sure to use the links in the description below for Fantasy Football Scout. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. And use the code, I think it's Flame20 or Pilot Flame20. It's in the description below for Manscaped as well. It's a fantastic product. I've used them myself personally. Their boxers are quite comfortable. The shirts are very good as well. Very, very nice stuff there over at Manscaped. So make sure to check them out and get 20% off your shipping, off your entire package, as it were, and free worldwide shipping. It's fantastic. So make sure to check that out. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.